Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Just here reading the Bhagavatam with some jumping water jacks behind us. We're over at Cold Drops Yard, King's Cross.
King's Cross.
And right behind us is the Artist College. I forget what it's called. Yeah,
Anyway, so jeepers, it's like la 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 la. Well, you're here to hear some Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai-ho, Jai-ho.
So it's Canto 3, Chapter 29, Text 16.
And it looks like it's going to rain, so it might do any moment, so we better get started.
And apologies in advance on my hair, because it's very windy.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 16. The devotee should regularly see my status in the temple. Statue, sorry. I was thinking like social media status. The devotee should regularly see my statues in the temple, touch my lotus feet, and offer worshipful paraphernalia and prayer. He should see in the spirit of renunciation from the mode of goodness and see every living entity as spiritual. Purport. Temple worship is one of the duties of a devotee. It is especially recommended for neophytes, but those who are advanced should not refrain from temple worship. There is a distinction in the manner a neophyte and an advanced devotee appreciate the Lord's presence in the temple. A neophyte considers the Acha Vigraha, the statue of the Lord, to be different from the original personality of Godhead. He considers it a representation of the Supreme Lord in the form of a deity. But an advanced devotee accepts the deity in the temple as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It does not see any difference between the original form of the Lord and the statue or Acha form of the Lord in the temple. This is the vision of a devotee whose devotional service is in the highest stage of Bhava, or love of Godhead. Whereas the neophyte's worship in the temple is a matter of routine duties. Powerful. Powerful. You definitely
Say it
see.
again. Powerful.
You definitely see that. You definitely see that. Oh, look at my hair. I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for myself. Yeah, you definitely see those different moods. Speaking as someone who has served in the temple, and it's quite a dangerous mood to have if you only equate temple worship as a sign of advancement. Because what happens is there's a tendency to look down on those that are not doing temple worship. That's my point.
You mean altar worship, deity worship?
Yeah, I'm trying to be diplomatic. Yeah. And then at the same time, Prabhupada does say that we should do temple worship. So it's not that we shouldn't worship in the temple. Sorry, someone was looking at my book. It was really awkward. They were like bending down trying to look at the book. But at the same time, Prabhupada, on the other side, we shouldn't have that view of, so you guys are just neophyte because you just do temple worship, because Prabhupada qualifies that no, you should do temple worship. It's not that you don't do it, but we have to have the right vision. And the vision, Prabhupada explains here, the vision of a devotee whose devotional service is on the higher stage, is that this deity, this statue, is non-different from the Lord. It's not like a preliminary stage, or it's not like a stopgap to perfection. As Prabhupada himself has said, the deity form is form of the Lord, and in particular he has said about Sri Sri Radha and Danishwara that they are the absolute truth, pretending to be devotees. Deities. I'm getting distracted by the wind and the fountains and all the people looking at me. Or two were.
Okay. Alright, so we'll read the next paragraph. Temple deity worship is one of the functions of a devotee. He goes regularly to see the deity nicely decorated, and with veneration and respect he touches the lotus feet of the Lord and presents offerings of worship, such as fruits, flowers, and prayers. At the same time, to advance in devotional service, a devotee should see other living entities as spiritual sparks, parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. A devotee is to offer respect to every entity that has a relationship with the Lord, because every living entity originally has a relationship with the Lord as part and parcel. A devotee should try to see all living entities on the same equal level of spiritual existence. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, a pandit, one who is learned, sees equally a very learned brahmana, a shudra, a hog. That says a hog in mine. Does it say hog in yours?
Yeah, hog.
I'm pretty sure the verse doesn't say hog, but anyway. A hog, a dog, and a cow. Actually,
a hog eater, no? No, it's a dog eater.
No, it's a dog eater, and a hastina, which is an elephant.
Elephant, yes.
He does not see the body, which is only an outward dress. He does not see the dress of a brahmana or that of a cow or of a hog. He sees the spiritual spark, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. If a devotee does not see every living entity as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, he is considered prakrita bhakta, a materialistic devotee. He is not completely situated on the spiritual platform. There you go. Rather, he is in the lowest stage of devotion. At least he's in devotion. He does, however, show all respect to the deity. Interesting. So, I think a couple of things. Main thing is that we see that we should have respect for all living entities, and that's due to the fact that we all have a relationship with Krishna, with God, and therefore, because we all have a relationship with God, then we're all related in some way, related to God. So therefore we're related to each other. So that, all living entities, and even at the moment I'm working on a presentation and possibly future course about relationships. And so even if it's not just with living entities, we also have a relationship with inanimate objects in relation to God, because it's still God's energy. So whether it's a rock or or the grass, well, grass is a living entity. A rock, a building, some item, a book. There's always some relationship with it in relation to God. And if we see our relationship with God and all of these things, then we'll relate to the things differently. So that was my thinking on it.
It's very good.
Thank you.
Next paragraph. Although a devotee sees all living entities on the level of spiritual existence, he is not interested in associating with everyone. Simply because the tiger is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord does not mean that we embrace him because of his spiritual relationship with the Supreme Lord. We must associate only with persons who have developed Krishna consciousness. And I want to say also, it's not just within that, as Prabhupada says, we shouldn't be sentimental in that association, that we can differentiate between who we associate. It's very dangerous if you're very naive and sentimental and think, well, they're all devotees, so I'll associate with them because we're all on different levels and different levels of purification and maturity. you could actually do some serious damage to your spiritual life if you don't associate with people who are going the way you're going or are sincere or applying the process properly. Could be a wolf in sheep's clothing, if that makes sense.
Oh,
so just be careful. Just be careful.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I always stress this point because this verse, Vidyavinaya Sampani Brahmani Gavi Hastani Shuni Chaiva Swapake Cha Pandita Samadarshanaha, which was the verse Prabhupada was referring to in the previous paragraph. So, yeah, you know, a Pandit sees with equal vision, but as Prabhupada qualifies here, it doesn't mean that just because you see the spiritual spark inside a tiger, you walk up to the tiger and try to associate with him. It doesn't mean we embrace him, Prabhupada says. So we still have to deal with the spiritual spark inside of different living entity bodies according to the bodies that they're in, but we do that with knowledge that they are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So like that. We should befriend and offer special respect to persons who have developed in Krishna consciousness. Other living entities are undoubtedly very loud, undoubtedly part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. But because their consciousness is still covered and not developed in Krishna consciousness, we should renounce their association. Interesting. Very big topic for conversation. It is said by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that even if one is a Vaishnava, if he is not of good character, his company should be avoided, as you were just saying, although he may be offered the respect of a Vaishnava. So this is an important point. There's no point at which we don't respect someone, but how we associate with and respect them may differ for different people. Anyone who accepts Vishnu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is accepted as a Vaishnava, but a Vaishnava is expected to develop all good qualities of the demigods. So, yeah, anyway, I think it's pretty self-explanatory that we need to choose our association with intelligence, and also we should realize that when it says we should abandon the association of people who aren't devotees, that does not mean that, you know, if your parents or your brother and sister or your grandparents or your auntie and uncle aren't devotees, that you abandon them, or your child, your children, you know, you become devotees and then a devotee, and your children decide not to, and you abandon your children. No. It means that we don't take association from the non-devotees. It means we don't allow their influential mentality, or their mentality rather, to influence us. That's taking association. But we can still associate with and be with people who are not devotees, and in that space be trying to give our association. It's a very subtle thing, but it means that we can be there in that space just simply so they get the opportunity to do a little service, or think a little bit about Krishna, or hear a little bit about Krishna, or, you know, we get to help make them favorable towards Krishna. And it's really all about the mentality and consciousness. What's up?
Okay, final paragraph.
Now, how does it make you feel when you say something and someone laughs afterwards and you try to, it's like, I mean, I don't feel insecure, but it's a little bit of a...
Well, I'm laughing
my hair out of
because,
place?
No, I'm laughing because it's bad enough with the fountain and everyone looking at us. And then these two young ladies with two pushchairs stopped literally behind this camera, and were having a full-on conversation, and you were trying to talk over everything, so it was very amusing.
I was certainly undisturbed in my presentation.
Okay. Final paragraph.
Final paragraph.
The exact meaning of the word satvena is given by Sridhar Swami as being synonymous with dhyarena or patience. One must perform devotional service with great patience. One should not give up the execution of devotional service because one or two attempts have not been successful. One must continue. Srila Rupa Goswami also confirms that one should be very enthusiastic and execute devotional service with patience and confidence. Patience is necessary for developing the confidence that Krishna will certainly accept me because I am engaged in devotional service. One has only to execute service according to the rules and regulations to ensure success. Oh my days. So yeah, the process is very simple as given by Srila Prabhupada, and we just have to follow the rules and regulations, and we have to be patient and confident or enthusiastic. It's like if you go to university and you're in the first, because where we are, there's quite a lot of unis around here. It's a lot of traffic flow. It's not easy to walk at the moment. It's all these students, but if like for them, they want a degree at the end of it. They want to graduate and everything. But in the first week of study, they can't expect to get the diploma or the degree. They got to go through the process and be patient. First seminar, second semester, summer, winter, all that stuff, exams, mock exams, all that stuff. And sometimes you fail them and you got to resit them, and somehow don't let your parents know because they're going to freak out, and all that you got to do. So in the same way, what I'm reading here is that sometimes we may end up not following properly, or we may not do the things we said we would do, or enthusiasm is sometimes there and isn't there. But you have to have that same patience that I will be successful if I just attend the classes, as it were, listen to the classes and do what I'm supposed to do, like as if you're in uni. The outcome will be my spiritual diploma, which will give me entry into the spiritual world.
On that happy note, I think we should conclude.
Yeah, because it's getting really noisy.
There's lots of people around. I'll swing the camera around in a minute so you can see all the people.
No, you won't.
The masses of people.
There's some workmen,
All right, thank you all very much. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.